So next we have the Canterbury Museum, and we've got Michael McKevity, Anthony Wright and Nigel Tukowski.
Mayor Leanne, councillors, thank you for the opportunity to be with you today. I'm well aware that this is a long, lengthy and probably difficult process for you. Long-term plans are. Long-term plans have to take the long road. Can I say that we are here to support the written submission we've already presented to you, and we thank you for the items that you've already included in the long-term plan following our written submission to you. But there are items that are not included, and they are the ones that we'd really like to focus on today. And I'd like to acknowledge that our Director, Anthony Wright, will take over and explain the detail of those for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Mayor and Councillors, for the chance to briefly summarise our submission. First of all, it's in 4 parts. The first part, we support the provision for our operating levy for the first 3 years of the LTP. We secondly object to the out years, the 7 years beyond that, and I'll give you more detail in a moment. We support your decision to confirm the capital grant, being part of the local authority shares of our redevelopment project, and we object to the fact that the capital grant we've requested for the Robert McDougall Gallery share of the redevelopment has not been included. So I'll go through each of those 4 parts one by one. First of all, support of the statutory grant for the first three years of the LTP. This is supported on proviso that the admin error will be corrected. The figures have been incorrectly transposed from our annual plan, and staff have advised us that an executive team recommendation will come to council that error is corrected. Just to note that the figures we have included are critical to us, due to a whole range of issues coming from our visitor number growth. Here is our visitor numbers for the last 20 years or so. You can see, apart from a small glitch caused by earthquakes, it's a strong upward trajectory. We've had all-time records for the last 4 years and anticipate that will continue. And that leads into our objection, the second part, which is an objection to the fact that the operating levies for the 7 out years have been held to inflation only. For the museum, as an organisation, the next LTP is too late for our medium to long-term financial planning, and we wish it to be included in this plan at the previously agreed levels that allow us to function. We underwent significant consultation at annual plan time with all of our 4 contributing local authorities a few years ago, and looking at the project coming forward, and it's principally around the introduction of depreciation charges for the redevelopment project. And we negotiated with you all some very significant concessions regarding the funding of depreciation, and I'd point out that the other 3 CLAs, the surrounding districts, have all included those out years in their LTPs as set out in our annual plan. So we're asking for those to be reinstated at the level that our annual plan requested. The third part is that we support the capital grant, your share of the capital grant towards the redevelopment of the museum. 22.2 million, your share is included in your LTP, which is great, thank you. I just note to you that this only applies to the part of our project that we put under the pre-earthquake heading, so the planning that was underway before the earthquakes is still required, but there is an added impost obviously from the earthquakes, and that relates to the next part of our submission, which is an objection that the capital grant requested for the Robert McDougall Gallery share of the overall redevelopment project has not been included. Now, we understand that it would have possibly been improper for council to include that in your draft LTP when you were actively out for expressions of interest in the future of the Robert McDougall. Those have now closed. The museum has lodged a strong expression of interest, and the grant that we've requested will be required to allow us to utilise the McDougall for the continued survival of the museum on its present site. I would note that on top of the capital cost of construction, the museum will fund itself all costs of fit-out services and exhibition development within the McDougall space. And that is the verbal presentation. Happy to answer any questions. We have copies of what we just presented for each councillor here as well. If they're
I think it's easier just to email them round, because just email them to staff, because they can put them straight on the hub. I like paperless now. I didn't think I would ever say that, but I've got to that point. Yanni.
Thank you for the deputation. I was just wondering if you could just kind of give us a general update on the thinking of central government. I think previously one of the requirements for central government to consider funding you was the fact that we had money that we could make available. Can you just give us an understanding of where conversations have got with that?
Thank you. We have continued to engage with the Ministry for Culture and Heritage, which is our principal point of contact. I have privately met with the Prime Minister and alerted her to the fact that we have great needs. She has agreed to come and visit the museum as soon as possible. There's some intervening events that might slow that down, but we probably feel overall that our chances are at least as good, if not slightly better, with the change in government. So that it will be a contingent part, I think. I'd be very surprised if it's not, in terms of advice from the ministry to ministers, that the quid pro quo for government funding. And if we go back to that post-earthquake part of the project, which is $87 million to care for all of the buildings of the museum post-earthquake, the money we're asking for from council is only for the McDougall part of that and the museum, and we are asking central government to fund the rest of that, the museum and central government to fund the rest of that.
The question I had was in regards to Ravenscar House Museum. Is there any funding sought in here for the operation of that facility, or any update on progress?
No, it's well underway. There'll be an update coming out shortly about that, but it's in advanced planning, and there'll be a public announcement very shortly. We've made an undertaking that there will be no additional operational costs on the museum budget. It will be self-sustaining, and our financial planning shows that will still be true.
Look, thank you very much. It's much appreciated. Obviously we've got a bit of work to do on this, but thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity.